What's going on, everybody? It's Dan here. This is Moonshine Talking. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good one. Uh, hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. Mine was fine, very uneventful. Called the family, ate some food, sat around, watched some movies, and listened to some music, worked out, all my normal stuff. Just pretty much took advantage of having an extra day off from work, and that's pretty much what I did. As far as some of the stuff that I watched Married with Children's It's a Bundyful Life episodes. Always a good decision. It's such a great show, and those are always for me growing up. They were like Christmas standards, just as much as when I was a little kid watching the all the claymation stuff like Rudolph and watching the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and friggin' A Christmas Story when it wasn't playing 24/7 on television. Just stuff like that. Um, but that one, as I've gotten older, that's one of those things I play all the time just because it's so good. With Al doing the Jimmy Stewart role, and they got Sam Kinison playing the angel trying to get his wings by showing Al what life was like if he wasn't born. And then it ending with him wanting to live out of spite because after the hell that his family put him through throughout his life, he decides that they don't get to have a good life without him. So it's just great stuff. And that's such a classic show. And Ed O'Neill was so great in that role. I mean, everybody on the show was phenomenal, but it's just such an iconic character. I know that phrase gets used, that term gets used way too often, but I think it's suited in this respect. Just such a good show. But I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night Part Two, which is another good decision. Really, that's the one that you should watch because you can pretty much watch Part One because that's half the movie, and then you get to see Ricky go on a rampage with the garbage day and just plugging people, and just a just a great cheesy campy holiday movie. A lot of fun. As far as anything else, I was watching just normal fare like action flicks and some other random horror movies. I watched some awful Christmas movie that I sped through probably like 90% of it. It just, the title looked awful and the opening looked awful. It was called A Christmas Karen, and I saw it on Tubi, and I was like, let me check this out. And it was as awful as I thought it was going to be. So I fast forwarded through the entire thing. I was okay, this is crap. This is crap. This is crap. Okay, let's go on about our business. But yeah, that was that. And then pretty much I'm just hanging out today. Got got checked up for my cracked rib with the doctor today. They said everything's healing nicely. Said I could work out and all that sort of stuff. But I'm kind of taking it easy today because I probably pushed myself a little too hard yesterday. So I'm feeling it a little bit. So I'm just taking it easy. And I figured since I'm not doing any of that, I do this and I would do my best of the year review. But first, folks, check out this sweet hippie death cult shirt that I picked up. This is they started putting merch out on their Bandcamp. This is one of the things they have. So I snagged this, snagged a few other things, and yeah, it's cool. Cool shirt, cool design, cool colors. It fits really well. It's comfortable. It's all I can ask for in a t-shirt. Supporting the bands that you love and being able to do it in comfortable, form-fitting clothing is pretty good, I guess. At least my opinion. But anyhow, as far as how I did this, for the most part, it's all stuff that I have physical copies of, with the exception of a couple. Uh, I didn't really have like a various factors of this, that, and the other thing. It wasn't as scientific. It was just the stuff that I listened to, I liked, and I thought it held up the most over the year. It's a couple things I mentioned that didn't really hold up as well as the year went on, and other things that kind of grew on me. So yeah, so it'd be fun. I did 20, top 20. I'll try to go through them as quickly as I can because I don't want to bore you with me babbling nonstop for an hour. I was going to joke about put putting the title top 100 albums of the year just to needle people. But I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. That's kind of silly and stupid. So anyhow, let's get into it. Number 20 is Kai, uh, Tales from the Land of Fire. Uh, this one I did not have on my list. I had the Conqueror King on my list, and then when I was doing like taking little specs and stuff like that to note the release dates and everything, I saw Conqueror King came out late last year. So I said, oh, that was a last year release. Same thing with the Lord Humongous, Raped by the Nukes. I was going to put that on here, but apparently that came out last year. So I went and I didn't have a copy of this one, but it's awesome. Kai is death metal band. It's a one man project by our favorite Hawaiian Nebraskan Paul Kreutz. He does all the vocals and the music on it. It's very similar to old school Swedish death metal, like a Hypocrisy. Very good stuff. I don't have a copy of this because I'm lazy and I haven't gotten a copy of it yet, but it's very good. It's just as good as the Conqueror King. Released independently, you can get it through Kunaki.com. You can get it through our buddy Eddie with Realms of Rock, his store, his online store. Our buddy Eddie from Realms of Metal, he's got realmsofrock.com. You can go there and pick it up. Very good album. Definitely go check it out. And number 19 is Lacerations Ire Road. It came out on 20 bucks spin back in July. Very good death metal. Phenomenal album. Vocally, kind of has a lot of Gorguts, Erosion of Sanity type of vocal stylings to it. That's at least what I heard. Uh, have some killer Hellraiser samplers in there. You can't go wrong on that. But very good, straightforward meat and potatoes death metal. Not too much to say. I didn't actually do a review on it, and while I'm thinking about it, pretty much most of these albums too, I've done reviews on. So if you want to see me go into a more in-depth analysis on them individually, you can go check out the Moonshine Metal reviews, and most of these you'll see I've done a review on them in some form or fashion. If you want to check that out, I'm just trying to go through this without wasting too much of all of you fine folks' time. But yeah, Laceration I Road, very good. Came recommended to me by Anthony from Metal Miners, who I don't know the exact date, but I know it's coming up. Him and Barry from that Goat Metal show, and I think Tone Joker and Silent Producer Rich, they're doing a thing where they're doing uh, not so much an album rankings, but a best of the year, and that should be fun. They're all very knowledgeable guys, and it should be a cool hang to go check out. But anyhow, moving on. Number 18 is Crypt Sermon, The Stygian Rose. This came out on Dark Descent Records back in June. Very good album. A lot of people were hyping this one up extraordinarily. So it's good. I enjoy it. It's fantastic, epic doom. Got very savagey vocals on it. They're Pennsylvania, I want to say, by way of Pittsburgh, epic doom band. Uh, it's very good. I mean, I know a lot of people really talking this one up. Even so, I think I saw somewhere like Loudwire, Decibel, or somebody or other put it as the top album of the year. I'm not going to go that far, but it was definitely very good. Uh, it's got some really solid tracks on it. It's like 6, 7 track song or 6, 7 tracks long. Uh, Probably Glimmers of the Underworld, Scrying Orb. Those are probably the best songs on it. Then probably the Stygian Rose. It's also really good. The title track, but very good album. If you like epic doom, like Solitude Eternus and Candlemass, stuff like that, little Sabotage mixed in there, even though that's not really doom metal. Go check it out. You'll enjoy it. Number 17 is Number 4 by Vanek. This was released independently right before Halloween. Vanek, Sean Vanek, the live guitar player for Midnight. He's got like a horror punky thrash band. Very good, very fun, very good party music. It's a lot of very upbeat. It's very much in the style of like 80s Bay Area thrash. When I hear him sing, I hear a lot of Chuck Billy in there, a little bit of Hetfield, but definitely lots of '80s Bay Area thrash. You get a lot of notes and hints of that. So it's very cool. Horror themed. Very good stuff. Again, I've done a review on this. Go check it out if you like. But if you can get a copy of this, I would certainly recommend it. It's good band, fun band, definitely worth your time. If not, go on Bandcamp and maybe pick it up digitally or just go check it out. But yeah, that's that. Number 16 is Corpses, Lurking After Midnight. This came out on Hell's Headbangers back in May. Again, more horror punk. Very good. Von Ghoul, he's got a style that's like it drifts between death metal growls and like King Diamondy type falsetto wails and doing like more of like a rockabilly horror punk kind of singing. Focus this one they focus more on doing like more of the horror punky kind of stuff, which is very cool. Yeah, on Satan is Real, he does hit a couple of those really super high falsetto notes with vibrato, which is very cool. It's almost like it's almost cheesy, but in a good way, or it's cheesy in a good way. But I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed those crazy high vocal notes and all that sort of thing. But it's a very fun album. Black Dahlia Murder is another good song on it. There's a ton of good stuff. There's a lot to love about this album. So I would definitely recommend it. It's another good party album. You could throw it on and just have fun with it. So yeah, that's number 16. Number 15 is uh, Departure Chandelier, Satan's Soldier of Fortune. It originally came out on Occult Antiquities, but I picked up the CD. It was released through Nuclear War Now. Came out in January. I don't know what it is about this thing, but it's just bored into my brain. I don't know what it is. It's such a just like weird and odd. I don't know if dissonance the word I'm looking for, but just a very off. It's just off and in a good way. But it's got some riffs that stick with you. The songs, like half of it, it almost didn't make the list because half of the album is like they're these interludes between the actual songs, but the songs that they do have on there are great. It's a black metal band from Canada, and yeah, it's good. I got to go pick up their first album. Excuse me, got hiccups. But yeah, very very good stuff. Definitely would recommend it. Number 14 is Destructor Indomitable. This one came out on Hell's Headbangers. Came out in October. Just phenomenal black metal band, black death metal band. This thing is blistering the entire way through. It was kind of a surprise hit for me, if you will, but a very good album. Better Off Aborted, the title track, the final track on the album, which I'm going to pull up real quick just because I want to. The Path to Lucifer. I forgot the name of the song. Very good stuff. I especially like the way it ends. How it's almost like uh, the grave is being dug and the dirt is being dropped on top of you, and you hear it slowly. The music and the vocals start fading into the background. It's just good stuff. Very good stuff. I definitely recommend it. And then lucky number 13. It's gonna be Sath Hagua, We Are God. This one came out on Osmos back in May. Phenomenal album. This one was a little underrated. It kind of flew under a lot of people's radars, I thought. Just kind of came out very quietly, in my opinion. I just found it by happenstance, really enjoyed it, picked it up, and it's good. It's a just solid black metal. I know my buddy Scott from No Solution. He heard a couple of the first album, Hosanna Bazaar, and didn't really care too much for it. It's a little disjointed and schizophrenic at times. It almost kind of has like now that I have the album and I've heard it, it almost like I could hear a lot of the sex trash, sexual carnage, a lot of similarities between the two of them. But this one is phenomenal. It's just a straightforward black metal album. Very good. I would definitely pick it up. Again, I've done a review on this. If you want to go check it out in more detail, you can go back and see that. But otherwise, yeah, if you like black metal, I would definitely pick this one up. It's a solid release. Uh, Moving to number 12 is Grand Magus with Sunraven. This one came out on Nuclear Blast back in, this one was October, I think, as well. Yeah, this was an October release. Very solid heavy metal album. Pretty much drifts between doom and just straight up heavy metal, more along the lines of the new wave of British heavy metal, especially here a song like "The Hour of the Wolf," and you can hear lots of Judas Priesty type riffs to it. Very good album. It's a concept album. It's based on Beowulf, and it's good. I mean, pretty much with maybe the exception of a couple songs I thought were kind of a little on the weaker side. Pretty much all the songs are solid, very strong. Title track's really good. The Hour of the Wolf is really good. Just a ton of stuff on there that's worth listening to. I think it's probably one of their strongest releases to date. So I would definitely check it out. And then if you like it, go check out some of their older stuff. But yeah, Grand Magus, Sunraven. My number 11 is Bilecaster, Writhing Between Birth and Death. This is a sludge metal band from England. This came out in October as well. It was released independently on Bandcamp, but then to get physical copies, you got to go to Road to Masochist Records to get the vinyl, and you can go to Cursed Monk Records to get the CD. I happen to find it just as happenstance. I just was looking for stuff to review, to do a review video. Looked up on Metal Archives, saw that they were a sludge metal band. I said, "All right, I'll check them out," and I really enjoyed it. I did a review of the album. Nick, the drummer, I want to say, he got in touch with me and said, "Hey, if you want to get an actual copy of it, just hit me up." So I got communicating with him a little bit, and threw him a couple $3, and he sent me the CD and sent me a cool patch and some stickers, which is very cool. Didn't have to do, but I do appreciate it. And this is a killer album. I mean, if you like sludge metal, you like stuff that's like I Hate God and Buzz Oven, things like that. There's a lot to love about this album. It's 3 tracks. It's a half hour long, so most of the tracks are extended, but they hold your attention and capture your imagination the entire time. It's technically an EP, but again, this is not a top full lengths of the year. This is a top releases of the year. So that's why this one's up there. Very killer stuff. I would recommend it to anybody who's into sludge. Go check it out. Bilecaster, Writhing Between Birth and Death. All right. So now we're getting into the top 10. And this got a little hard at times because a couple times I had to revise my list. Actually, the Bilecaster EP was in the top 10, and then I got thinking about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot a couple things." And this was one of them. My number 10 is Nile, The Underworld Awaits Us All, excuse me. Came out on Napalm Records back in August. Very much was looking forward to this. This was one of my more anticipated releases of the year. I wanted a copy of it so bad that I even went to the Evil Empire Amazon to get a copy of it. And it's phenomenal. Everyone knows Nile, brutal tech death band from South Carolina. Uh, just fantastic. So much on this album. There's a lot to love about it. If this one made it as somebody's top album or top five or top three, I wouldn't fault them. This is a killer album. Highly recommend it. It's definitely rates right up in there with the rest of their discography. And yeah, go check it out. It's an awesome release. Uh, Number 9 and number 8 for me were kind of like, well, do I go with brutal or do I go with melody? Which one do I choose as far as what came next? So I went with brutal first, and that's Fulci Duckface Killings. This came out on 20 bucks spin in August. Just a phenomenal album. Fulci's a very good Italian death metal band. I think technically they're considered brutal death, but you kind of get split in hairs when they're a death metal band. Lots of good grooves and riffs and breakdowns. The vocals are tremendous. They're very gurgly and growly. Sometimes they get doing the friggin' the pig noises or whatever the hell they're called, which those I don't know. I'm really not into those, but it's not a it's nothing's perfect. So, but this is a good one. It's a concept album based on New York Ripper. Again, I did a review on it. You want to check that out in more detail, go check that out. But this is a phenomenal release. Definitely a welcome addition to anybody's collection. So yeah, Fulci, Duckface Killings. Up next is Gate Creeper with Dark Superstitions. This one came out on Nuclear Blast. It was back in May, and yeah, it's a phenomenal album. I mean, Dead Star, Tears Fall from the Sky, Caught in the Treads, Black Curtain. I think they're probably at their best when they're more melodic and they get doing more like the death and roll stuff. That's probably where I think is probably like their wheelhouse. But they're very good with just doing just a straight up, like death metal style. But that's where I think they probably excel at is doing more like the death and roll type of stuff. I know they're considered one of the HM2 clone bands, but and probably one of the more prominent ones in that like little niche category. But this is a phenomenal release. Uh, I've enjoyed it each and every time I listen to it. It's a great album. Very easily could rate higher on in certain respects. Another one that if people put it in their top five or one or whatever the case, you wouldn't get any complaints from me. But very good. I'm actually there was one thing about it that did kind of not sit well with me, but I'm going to address that at a later time. But for now, we'll keep moving along and go to number seven. Lucky number seven goes to Iron Monkey, Spleen and Goad. This one came out on Relapse back in April. Another sludge metal band, also from England. Just phenomenal stuff. These guys are veterans of the scene, of the genre. If you want to, if you want inspiration to put your head through a wall, then listen to this album because that'll do it. It's great lifting music. It's great to get you pumped up and ready for something. This is just a phenomenal album from front to back. It's killer. I think there's maybe at best there's maybe one or two songs on there that were my favorite, but even those are good. But it's just some of the other stuff is so much stronger in my opinion that's why I consider them. They're not so great, but just a phenomenal album. Killer band. Definitely go check them out. Iron Monkey, Spleen and Goad. Spleen and Goad. I'll say that properly this time at number seven. Number six, I also don't have a copy of because it came out real late in the year. December 13th, it came out. This is Satanic War Master, Exaltation of Cruelty. Phenomenal black metal band. I don't have to say too much about them. Most people know who they are, know Werewolf and his rep and his bona fides, if you will. Uh, the whole album is tremendous. I've listened to this thing probably like seven, eight, nine times. I've listened to it a ton of times. From Black Circle of Death to Dead Rose for a Dying World, the whole thing front to back is phenomenal. I would say maybe there's one song on there that really doesn't do much for me, but beyond that, it's a killer album. I don't have a copy of it because it just came out, and it's also Werewolf is in Finland, so it's kind of hard to get stuff without paying out the nose. But I'll probably check Osmos. I have a local record dealer here who said if he gets his hands on it, he'll set aside a copy for me. So I'll get my hands on it, and it'll definitely be a welcome addition to my collection. But yeah, man, number six, Satanic War Master, Exaltation of Cruelty. Then we're into the top five, and number five is Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. This one came out on Sony in March. Just great. I mean, what do you say about Judas Priest? Just phenomenal. Have 50 years doing it, going strong. This one's no exception. Just a very heavy and melodic, very much harkens back to the painkiller days. You don't get a lot of like the strong falsettos from Rob Halford, other than maybe a couple of times throughout the thing, but very strong album, very strong songs on it. Probably my favorite is Crown of Thorns, I'd say. And that's almost got almost like a poppy, almost Eddie Money-ish feel to it, if you can believe that. But just a good album. Even some of the stuff that I didn't initially like about it kind of grew on me. So this is a phenomenal album, and I would definitely pick it up if you're a Priest fan or just like a straight up heavy metal fan. Definitely go pick this one up. It's worth your time. Number four is Deceased, Children of the Morgue. This one came out on Hell's Headbangers back in August. Just phenomenal. The dynamics and the way that this thing shifts and bobs and weaves and changes tempo and speed and stuff like that. It's a killer album. The way it kind of ties in from the beginning with the title track to the final track on the album. It ties in the Children of the Morgue thing. Just great stuff. It's very well put together. Again, I've done a review on this. If you want to see more in depth, go check that out. But yeah, that's my number four. And now we're going to get into the top three. So number three is going to be Altar of Oblivion in the Cesspit of Divine Decay. This one came out on From the Vaults Records, and it came out in June. And I'm telling you, man, people slept on this one. See, when a lot of people were talking about Crypt Sermon, the Stygian Rose, it being one of the best, not only best albums of the year, but probably the best doom metal, and more in particular, best epic doom metal of the year. This is the one I was talking about. I was like, nobody's talking about this one. It's phenomenal. I mean, from front to back, top to bottom, this thing is just a killer album. I finally, actually, I most recently, through a vendor, got my copy of it. And that's that right there. Show that to you. But yeah, man, this is a good one. I mean, from Nothing Grows on Hallowed Ground to the final track, uh, which is the title track in the Cesspit of Divine Decay. There's a little like instrumental at the end of it, but it's just a great album. Mick Mentor's voice is unique, but I think he really comes into his own on this one, as does the rest of the band. And it is a phenomenal album, and it's at my top of the rankings for a reason. I really enjoy this one, and I think anyone who's into Doom will enjoy it just the same. So anyhow, moving on to number two is Canon and Fever, the Dire Catastrophe. This one came out on Century Media back in September. It's weird because I think that some people, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about the band. I think some people think this is like kind of like normie black metal or what. I don't know how that is, how those two things go together, but it's like beginners black metal, which is fine. I would agree with that. It's not raw or like what do they say? What do some people say? Like sketchy sketch bands or anything like. It's nothing like that. It's based on like world. It's a World War I themed band. It's one man project by a guy named Noise. He's in another band, Nanas Deus, which is how I found these guys. And I honestly, at first, I had heard one song on it, and I didn't really like it because it had almost like a Slipknot feel to it, and I was like, this is okay. So because he wears the little Kaiser helmet, and the guys all dressed like World War I soldiers, and that's kind of like the theme of the band. And I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, I hear that, and then I see that, and I'm thinking like it's a gimmick. But then I listened to the rest of the album, and it was phenomenal. It really it blew me away. I thought it was great from front to back on it. I'm not going to try to pronounce any of the song titles again because they're all in German. The whole thing is sung in German. Just a phenomenal. It's got its toe tapping moments. It's got its fist banging moments. It's got its moments where you just sit there and let it draw you in with the lyrics and the composition of everything. Just a phenomenal album, and that's why it's my number two. And this will lead to my number one, which I'll break out here in a moment. Da, 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 da. So on this one, again, a lot of people slept on this album. Don't know why. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it when it first got released. Other than a small, like this circle of people, I didn't really hear a lot of people talking about it at all. You don't see it on many album rankings, and I really don't get it. I mean, these rankings are all subjective and they're for fun and that sort of thing. It's not like we're making and breaking the bands. They're not going to make $1 million based on friggin' Dan from Moonshine Talking's opinion. But I just don't understand why so many people slept on this one. It's a phenomenal album, and that is Anthology of Horror by Vincent Crowley. Now, I avoided pretty much watching anybody's reviews because I didn't want it to bias or color my opinion one way or the other. But I did just see an interview that Vincent did with Eddie from Realms of Rock, Realms of Metal, and promoting the. He has an online store. Eddie's doing his online store for him. So as part of Realms of Rock, you can get all the Vincent Crowley merchandise. So they were talking about that. And then Eddie mentioned how this was his number one album. And again, I agree. It's phenomenal. It's a concept album based on like Cthulhu and the Werewolf and Jekyll and Hyde and friggin' Madame Laveau. Am I saying that correctly? And just a bunch of horror characters and horror mythos and stuff like that. Just very well done. Probably my favorite song is Under the Hanging Tree. It still is. That's just a well done song. But the whole album is killer from front to back. You cannot go wrong with this thing. It's a death metal band. I think I said it already, but I'll say it again. It came out of Hammerheart Records. Another one that I went to the Evil Empire Amazon to pick up because I didn't know any other way to get it. But now you can go to Realms of Rock and go pick it up if you want to. But just and support a buddy. Phenomenal album. Again, I can't say enough good things about it. I know a few people that I know through the internet and all that sort of stuff have mentioned it and have touted how great it is. It really is, people. Go check it out. If you're not familiar with Vincent, he's the former vocalist for Asheron. They're getting back together and they're going to be doing some stuff next year, possibly into 2026, while doing this at the same time. You know, he's got a channel here. I was lucky enough to be on it one time where you just sit there and bullshit and talk about things that bug you. So just a just good, good musician, friendly guy, cool enough. I don't know what else to say, but going back to the album, it's killer, just a killer album. I can't say enough good things about it. Again, I've done a review on it. If you want to go check that out, go check it out. You can go see with the Moonshine Metal reviews and go check it out there. But yeah, that is my list. That took me about as long as I thought it would take me to do that, to babble through that and try to stay on topic. But excuse me. Yeah, so that's that. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you agree, disagree, something that I missed out on, whatever the case might be. I love talking about this stuff. And then, yeah, I'll have some other videos coming up here pretty soon. I'm just babbling for the moment. So when all these stupid things pop up at the end here, yeah, something that's pretty much fodder while that's going on. But as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck a chin up on impact. Don't forget to breathe. Everybody have a good one. And I will catch you on the next video. Later.